Yo, welcome into another episode of the Pass Rap Podcast. I'm your host, Beej, Beej.com, Beethoven, whatever you want to call me. This is episode 8, the free agency edition. Day one, the free agency just started. Well, technically, it's the NFL legal tampering period from now till Wednesday at noon, but it's basically the first day of free agency. The only difference is all the deals that get done aren't official until Wednesday at noon. Um, Thank you guys for your continued support. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So continue subscribing, continue liking, commenting, and sharing it with people. I'm currently at 59 subscribers. I want to get that to 100. So share with all your friends. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. Tell them to subscribe. Let's get this to 100 before the NFL draft in late April. Can we do that? I appreciate y'all. Let's get right into it. The New England Patriots started the day off with a lot of signings on day one. A lot of people have reservations, based off of what Elliot Wolf did last year. A lot of people didn't have a lot of faith that he would be able to do anything worth a damn this year, as far as him still being the head guy in that room. Now I know we've since added Mike Vrabel and his guy Ryan Cowden, who behind the scenes might be the one really orchestrating these deals, but as of right now, it's safe to assume that it's still Elliot Wolf. And so far, as of today, on day one, Elliot Wolf's done a pretty solid job. I can't complain too much. So I'm gonna run down the list of the free agents that we've signed as of today, and how many years and how much money their contracts are worth, and then we'll get into a little bit of their PFF grades, and some of their statistics, and then just talk about some of the needs that the Patriots still have. Short episode today, not going to take too much time, but let's get right into it. So, kicked it off last night with two signings: Harold Landry and Austin Hooper. We re-signed Hooper; he was obviously on the team last year. Harold Landry was released by the Titans, so there was the obvious Vrabel and Terrell Williams connection there. It was a no-brainer. I think everybody in the world thought that they were going to bring him in. um, so let's start with Harold Landry, 3 years, $43.5 million. Austin Hooper, 1 year, $5 million, which can be worth up to $8 million. Carlton Davis, the corner, who most recently played with the Lions but was on that Bucks team that won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, got 3 years, $60 million. That's going to be a kick-ass cornerback room with him on one side and Gonzalez on the other side. I can't wait to see how that's gonna go with this new defensive style that Mike Vrabel was bringing in. Then we got Robert Spillane, middle linebacker from the Raiders, or yeah, middle linebacker from the Raiders. 3 years, $37 million. Offensive tackle Morgan Moses, 3 year, $24 million from the Jets. Uh, Joshua Dobbs, 2 years, $8 million. So another body for that quarterback room. Another veteran, kind of that Jacoby Brissett role, but except he's not going to play. He's not going to start any games, I'm sure. And Mac Hollins, wide receiver, who most recently played for the Bills, 2 years, $8.4 million. And the icing on the cake, the person that I think that everybody assumed or wanted the Patriots to get on the defensive line, one of the top, if not the top defensive free agency this year, Milton Williams, who most recently played for the Eagles, helped him win that Super Bowl. 4 years, $104 million, puts him at $26 million a year, and the highest paid Patriot of all time. It was originally reported that he was going to Carolina. I think they were sitting at $22 million per year for him. And it looks like Elliot Wolf picked up the phone and up the ante and got it up to 26 and brought Milton Williams to New England. So extremely glad. We missed out on Godwin, missed out on Dan Moore and the other Moore, the two tackles that were available. So missed out on some key players that a lot of people felt like the Patriots needed, but was able to bring home Milton Williams to help shore up that defensive interior. And if Barmore is healthy, that's going to be a mean interior with him and Barmore and their pass rush and run stuffing ability, along with Keon White and Harold Landry out on the edge. That's a very formidable defensive line compared to what we had last year. We know that Barmore's health is an issue. We don't know if he's, penciled in to come back, but to bring in somebody like Milton Williams definitely helps mitigate that lost a little bit if Barmore is unable to return, or if they decide to trade him, being that they now have Milton Williams. Um, so that's day one of New England Patriots free agency. Let's get into some of the grades so we can kind of learn about, the players that we've now acquired. So we have Harold Landry. Let's take a look. 6'2", 252 pounds, 28 years old. Like I said, very familiar with Mike Vrabel's defense. Probably signed him simply to have him come in and be a plug and play edge rusher and be able to teach the rest of that line the way that Mike Vrabel wants his defensive line to play, and Terrell Williams, how they want that defensive line to play. Last year he had an overall grade of 70.5, which put him at 51st out of 211 edges. Pass rush grade was only a 49.6, so below average, but his run defense grade was 82.2, which is well above average according to PFF. So versatile player. He had 9 sacks, which was 19th out of 211 edges. So obviously, even without a high pass rush grade, he was still able to get 9 sacks. And again, like I said, he's versatile, so he's able to help in the run game, whereas our edges weren't really good at helping in the run game last year. When you're playing a lot of those West Coast teams that like to run the outside zones, you now have edge setters, him and Anthony Jennings on both sides, that can help mitigate, big plays on the outside. So um, that's a good addition. I have no qualms with Harold Landry III being a New England Patriot, given his history with Mike Vrabel. Let's talk about Carlton Davis. I've always been a big fan of Carlton Davis. 6'1", 206 pounds, so good size for a corner, 28 years old. Overall grade last year was 74.5, which had him 29th out of 223 corners, so in that upper echelon. He only had 2 picks. Let's see. His coverage grade was a 72.1, so it's a little bit over average. And he had 49 tackles, so that goes to show that he's not scared, to get in there and use his body and make tackles and things like that. And he also had, let's see, 6 PBUs. So the thing with Carlton Davis is that he's a risk taker. So he can make a big play, or he could take a chance to get burned. But you don't mind that. That's kind of like J.C. Jackson, I would say, but you don't mind that when that's your CB2 and not your CB1. So again, no issues with Carlton Davis. Like still 28, so relatively young, 6'1", 206, big size. Definitely a well above average corner, and well above average CB2, since we already have Christian Gonzalez on one side. Moving right along, let's get into Robert Spillane. Linebacker, his overall grade was 68.4. He's 6'1", 229 pounds, 29 years old. So again, Vrabel likes those faster linebackers, a little bit smaller than what we might be used to in New England, but he's one of those faster linebackers. Excuse me. And an every down linebacker, not a situational linebacker. He played 1,093 snaps last year, which is 4th among linebackers. So he's going to be on the field. He had 110 tackles, which was 3rd amongst linebackers. So he's putting his nose in there. He's getting dirty. He's making tackles, rushing the passer, blowing up the run game. Super excited to have kind of one of those like Devin White style linebackers that are fast and are just shooting to the ball. No matter where it is, whether it's in the backfield or in the open field. His run defense grade was 87.3, so well above average, ranked top 10 amongst linebackers. Coverage grade was below average at 48.4, but it is what it is. We have 2 box safeties that can cover in some nickel corners, so not too concerned with him covering. But again, smaller, faster, hard-hitting linebackers, what I've been calling the Patriots to have for years. I was tired of the Belichick getting those big, slow linebackers that are just plugging gaps. So a person that's going to fly to the ball and make a bunch of tackles. He even had 2 sacks. So that's Robert Spillane. Morgan Moses, huge, 6'6", 320-pound right tackle, 34 years old. So he's a little bit on the older side. But tackles usually play up, up into their 30s. A tackle at 34 is not necessarily a bad thing. And I mean, he's a workhorse, man. He plays through injury, tries to play every game. He missed a little bit of time last year, but His pass block grade was 69.2, so a little bit over middle of the pack. His run block grade was 60.6, so about middle of the pack for an older guy. Not bad at all. Um, Played 723 snaps, so like I said, he's reliable, and he only allowed 2 sacks all season. The only thing here is that he did have 8 penalties, so hopefully they can get that. Josh McDaniels can mitigate the penalties for him. But again, huge signing that shores up that right side of the line. You've got Morgan Moses at tackle, Mike Onwenu at right guard. That side is secure, and even if you want to throw in David Andrews at center, the whole right side of the line is secure. Still got some work to do on the left side, but 100% the right side of the line is good to go. Moving right along, let's get it to Milton Williams. This was the belle of the ball as far as the Patriots offseason on the defensive side. He obviously was able to play with all those great players, Josh Sweat and Jordan Travis and all those other Georgia Bulldogs that are on the Eagles, but he still made a name for himself, and that's why he was the most highly touted interior defender of this cycle. He's 6'3", 290 pounds. He's only 26 years old, so he could be here for quite a while. His overall grade was 70.1, which is 31st out of 219 interior defenders. Played 500 snaps, had 40 pressures, which put him at 19th. So his overall grade was above average. His pass rush grade was 90.4, which is well above average. That put him number 2 out of all defensive interiors. His run defensive grade was below average, so that could use a little bit of help, but I'm sure the Patriots, will have guys, bigger interior guys for those obvious running situations and use him more so in obvious pass rushing situations as well. He had 12 tackles and 6 sacks and 1 forced fumble. So extremely excited to see what Milton Williams can help build along that defensive line. You got Harold Landry, you got Milton Williams, you got potentially Christian Barmore, Keon White, Anthony Jennings. Maybe they bring back Daniel Aquale, Jaquelin Roy. So some actual formidable names on that defensive line, because last year we were terrible against the run and we were terrible when it came to sacking the quarterback. So they brought in people who can play well against the run and get to the quarterback. So I'm very, very interested to see what this new defensive style that Vrabel's bringing in, which led to the trade of Devon Godchild because he didn't fit the system anymore. I'm very interested to see what these new formidable big names can come in and do and really change, the course of this defense compared to how it was last year with Gerard Mayo, who basically kept it the same that Belichick, the same style of player and the same style of defense that Bill Belichick ran. Yeah, that's really it. We could take a look at Mack Hollins's stats. He was the latest person to sign here. So let's take a look at Mack Hollins via PFF. All of these grades that I'm getting are via PFF. He's 6'4", 221 pounds. He's over 30. So, they say about receivers over 30. I'm not expecting him to come change the game, but he's a bigger body. And Drake May likes to throw those fades down the right side of the field. So we could line him up on the outside and throw those 50-50 go balls to him. He's a bigger body than anybody else we have on the roster. So I think that's primarily what they brought him in to be, so that Kayshon Boutte, who was a bit smaller than that, doesn't have to be that 50-50 go ball player. He can play more so on the inside or at the Z. And we have Mack Hollins out there on the outside. He was the one and only receiver that we got in this cycle so far. Like I said, again, it's just day one. So receiver is still an obvious need, whether that be signing another one or drafting one. His overall grade was 60.3. He had 378 yards and 5 touchdowns. So nothing that's going to blow you away, but a good third, fourth, fifth option on the team. Granted, you get some better players in there. So yeah, that's a list of what the Patriots did today in day one of free agency. Run down that list one more time. Harold Landry, Austin Hooper, Carlton Davis, Robert Spillane, Morgan Moses, Milton Williams, Josh Dobbs, and Mac Hollins. Um, so filled a lot of positional needs. A couple of needs that I would still say is obviously receiver. Um, Darius Slayton re-signed with the Giants, so you could cross that off the wish list. Stephon Diggs, I wouldn't mind Stephon Diggs here if he's healthy. But primarily I would say sign somebody like Cooper Kupp, whether that be via trade or waiting till he gets released. I think somebody like Cooper Kupp in the Josh McDaniels office could come be the grown up in the room and kind of really help get things going and allow time for those younger receivers to really mature and get going. Um, Left tackle obviously is a big need. Me personally, all signs are pointing to us drafting Will Campbell at 4. It's been reported that a lot of people in the building, regardless of his arm length, believe that he can play tackle at a high level. Um, but Cam Robinson is really the only left tackle, out there that's really worth anything that you can get on the free agency market. And I haven't heard his name come up at all. And that's subject to change, once I finish recording, but I haven't really heard his name come up at all. And then free safety is the last need that I see for this team. And I think that somebody like Javon Holland from Miami would be perfect, being that he is a true free safety and can roam in that Devin McCourty role that we've seen for so many years, as opposed to having Jabril Peppers or Kyle Duggar playing out of position when they're really box safeties, strong safeties that need to be closer to the line of scrimmage, as opposed to trying to roam and getting lost in coverage. You bring somebody in like Javon Holland, and he can 100%, plug and play that free safety role because that is his natural position. So, wide receiver, offensive tackle, primarily a left tackle, and free safety are the 3 remaining needs that I see before we even get to the draft. So yeah, day 1 of the NFL legal tampering period, which is, like I said, basically just like day 1 of free agency, just nothing is official yet. Um, as more news breaks, hopefully, and maybe tonight or tomorrow, I'll hop on here and I'll record another podcast to talk about some of the newer additions. And then later on this week, I'll record, a full episode after I've kind of watched the film on all the guys, or maybe not film, but some highlights of all the guys to kind of see how they may fit in our system, and come back and give you guys, like a real full in-depth episode of week 1 of Patriots free agency. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Again, like I said, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by late April, the NFL draft. So April 24th. That's when I would like to get to 100 subscribers. So if you guys can help me out, that would be great. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'm really enjoying doing this, and I hope you guys are enjoying hearing it as much as I like to run my mouth about the Patriots. That's it. It's a Pats Rap Podcast, signing out.